G'day guys, Aaron here. Since I'm doing renovations on the bus, I've discovered a large amount of rust on the roof, and I thought this would be a good time to do a tutorial on how to remove rust from the roof of your school bus conversion. Let's take a look. So as you can see, it's a fair amount of rust here. This was actually a massive big hole. And then I've ground it back to metal, peeled it back to see how far the rust has gone. You can see here it's gone onto the roof supports and it's gone all the way along there. So this is on one part. It's along the hang on, this is the other side. Same deal. You can see the rust is sort of eaten away. There's a hole, direct hole in the roof, so it's eating away there, it's eating away there, and it goes all the way up there. Keep going further along. This is on the edge, big old hole in the roof there, the water can get in. And I'm not sure how far along the sheet the rust goes, so we're going to find out. Okay, so step one in treating some rust in the roof of your bus is to find out how bad your rust situation is. So that means usually stripping back the paint to see how far the rust is eaten away into your metal. You can do this with paint stripper by chemical means, but I've chosen not to do that because it'll just make a big mess down the side of my bus. So I'm removing it via mechanical means with a grinder and one of these handy paint stripping discs. These are really good because they'll take off paint and they won't mark up your surface of your metal too much. You'll see this. Make sure when you're using a grinder to always wear proper protection. So I'm wearing my steel cap boots, I've got protection on my legs, I've got gloves on, they're not very good, I'm getting a new pair soon. The grinder has a guard on it. Guard is very important. You're wearing your eye protection and ear protection as well. Alright, so you see that disc has done a pretty good job of taking that back to bare metal. You can see the different layers of different paint that it's had on the years, and you can see how far the rust has progressed into that metal. So when you're treating this, you want to always treat a little bit beyond where the rust has gone. It's a little bit there, I believe. Something else I should add, I wouldn't usually use this kind of disc on a body panel, but because it'll mark the gouge into the metal too much. But because it's on the roof and I'm going to cover it with a waterproofing membrane anyway, the finish doesn't matter so much to me. But if you were doing this on a body panel and you scratched your metal too much, you have to go over it with fine sandpaper and body filler, and that's just a lot more work than what you have to do. So on a body panel, use paint thinners, paint strippers, sorry, but on the roof I can get away with doing this. Okay, because there's a large amount of rust there, and because it runs all the way along the support, and because I've got these three holes in the roof here, I've decided to replace this whole section of sheet metal, and that's what I'm going to fix the rust problem with. You'll find, well, I've found that my bus has rivets holding the sheet metal in, so I'm going to have to pop them out. And it's also glued down to the supports, so I'm going to have to pop the glue off as well. To get this sheet metal free, I have to get rid of the rivets. There's only two ways that I know of to get rid of rivets. One way is to drill through the rivet itself, and the other way is to grind off the top, and that's the way I'm going to do that now, very carefully, so we don't scratch the paint underneath. Well, we don't scratch this is actually fiberglass, so we don't scratch the fiberglass underneath. One thing I need to add, when you're grinding the paint off, when you're sanding the paint off, is to never be in one spot with the grinder at one time. You don't want the metal to heat up too much. If it heats up too much, it's going to warp and it's going to push it out of shape and it's going to look funny. So very quick strokes when you're grinding away. Okay, so I need to get rid of this sheet metal, and the way I have to do that is it's riveted in, so I've got to get rid of these rivets. The best way I've found to get rid of rivets is either drill through them or to grind the top off them. So I've got a metal grinding disc in my grinder here, and I'm going to slowly and very carefully grind the top off these rivets so that they'll eventually pop up. And I'll try not to hit the material underneath, so very carefully. rust, so you cut around all your sheet metal, whatever exposing all the rust that you need to fix, and then you need to get rid of all this scaly loose stuff on top. So you're going to have to sand it down or grind it down to get rid of that. And today I'm going to be using my grinder, a little 4-inch 100mm grinder. It's got one of these flappy discs on it. It's an 80 grit sandpaper, and it's really good for removing rust and sanding down metal. When using the grinder, always make sure it's got a guard on it. See, it's got a guard, stops that. Make sure you got gloves. Make sure you got a mask. Make sure you got hearing protection. Make sure you got eye protection. Really important. Alright, so once all the scales removed and you've got it nice and fairly smooth, I'm going to hit it with a paint, a rust converting, rust reforming paint. So what this stuff does is convert your active rust into an inert rust, so it won't eat into the metal anymore. And it acts like a primer as well, so when I put a top coat of enamel on it, it'll protect the metal even further. See here where I've over sanded, I'm going to place sheet metal on top of this, so I didn't want any old paint underneath or any rust, potential rust underneath my new sheet metal, so I've sanded that back, and I'll give it a hit with the rust converter and an enamel paint as well to protect it from rust in the future. Alright, the rust proofing paint is dried, so the next step is to apply an enamel paint on top of that. The enamel paint just seals the metal properly against the elements, and the rust shouldn't come back. Rusty patch there. I've had some sarking left over from previous renos, so I'm going to put that over top as a radiant heat barrier just to stop some heat getting in the bus. And over top of that, we're going to put some new sheet aluminium, which I ordered this week. And yeah, this is how we're going to do it. And that's our finished product. New sheet metal over the hole. Another 2 to go, and we're right.
That was good teamwork.
Look at that. That is how a bus looks with a flat roof. Looks more like a bus now, not a bloody beluga whale. No more dome on that head, look at that. Alrighty folks, it's about the 7th day, end of the 7th day, and check it out. All done, shiny new aluminium over the holes. It's glued in, it's riveted in. Should not leak water again, and it should have got rid of the rust. So now I've got to paint it white and yeah, we'll put some more solar panels on there. Happy days.